Now, previous class, we were solving this problem and we were in the last part of the problem. Now, as usual, whenever it is, okay, sorry. Whenever it is a problem with of probability with cards and all that, make sure you follow this table. 52 cards into 4 different sets: spade, club, heart and diamond. Each will have 13 cards. It's a set of 13 cards. Heart and diamond will be red in color. Spade and club will be black in color. Okay. Now the last one is a spade or a king. Now there are two possibilities. One is a spade. What is the probability of taking a spade card? Or another one is selecting a king card. Now the total number of cards are 52. That is understood. Now how many spade cards are there in the complete 52 set? There are 13 spade cards in the set of 52. So the probability of getting a spade card will be 13 cards are there out of 52. So the probability of getting a spade is 13 by 52. Okay. Now next, probability of getting a king card. Now if you see, every set will have a king card, right? So what will be the numbering of the cards? A, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then you'll have J, K, Q. That is joker, king and queen. Okay. So king will be here in every in every set. So in spade, there will be one king. In clubs, there will be one king. In hearts, there will be one king. And in diamonds, there will be one king. So there are 4 kings out of 52. So 13 spade cards out of 52 cards. And there will be 4 king cards out of 52 cards. So this is probability of getting a spade. Now let us take it as event D, probability of getting a spade. Now the next one is probability of getting a king card, that is event E. I'm just giving a short event names so it is easy for us to solve. So probability of getting a spade card is D, probability of getting a king card is E. Okay. Now, let us see, is there anything common between a spade card and a king card? Now, if you see the spade card, now spade is a set of cards, right? Spade is a set of cards. Now, this set of cards also has all the 13 numbers starting from A, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, J, K, Q. So this set of spade cards also has a king, correct? Also has a king. So there is one king card which is common in the spade card, as well as king card. Which is that card? Spade card king is common in both of them. So there is one card which is common. Now, when it comes to common, what did I say? You have to use probability of intersection, D intersection E. When it is common, it has to be intersection. When it is selection of one, it will be union. So if you see here, a spade or a king card. So this is D union E. D is the event of getting a spade card. E is the event of getting a king card. Okay. Now here, out of 52 cards, one card is common between spade and the king. And that is what we have considered. Now use the additional theorem. See, additional theorem, one question will compulsory come in the examination. So you have to use the additional theorem. This is the additional theorem. Use this. Now P of D is 13 by 52 plus P of E is 4 by 52 minus intersection is 1 by 52. Okay. Now, since the denominators are same, just check the numerator. 13 plus 4 is 17. 17 minus 1 is 16. So, the probability of getting a spade card or a king card is 16 by 52. This is the final probability. Understood? Any doubts here? Yes, Akila. Whatever I have done until today, if you learn so much of probability, that is more than enough. Okay. Along with this, there are some 2-3 questions which have been given. Okay. Solve those also. Those are just repetition of the questions which have been done in the class. Okay, I have covered all types of questions that can be asked in the examination. If you learn whatever is done or whatever is written in the classwork, that is more than enough. And I will be giving you few of the practice questions. Practice questions is all which is covered already, like how you solved correlation and regression, right? Similarly, there I gave some practice questions for you to solve. So similarly, here also I'll give you some practice questions to solve. So it will be easy for you to understand and remember during the examination. Okay. So this completes our probability chapter. That one part which was left out yesterday, I thought I'll finish that today. Fine. Now let us go to the next chapter and the last chapter of the syllabus of QABD 2. Now, the next chapter is interpolation and extrapolation. Now, here again, like how we have learned correlation and regression, a little implication of those with the equations will be used in this chapter. A little, but the concept is different here. Okay. Now, let us understand what is interpolation, what is extrapolation, where is it useful. Okay, so firstly we will have two variables x and y. Whenever we have two variables x and y, we can put them into a function. Function is a mathematical expression. Okay, function is a mathematical expression. So here variables x and y will be in a function of y is equal to f of x. This is f into x is called as f of x. Okay, so whenever you have two variables x and y in a function, it's called as y is equal to f of x. Now here x is a independent variable. It will not get influenced by anybody. It is a independent variable. And y is a dependent variable. Y is depending on x to derive its value. Okay, so x is a independent variable, y is a dependent variable. Now next, for the series of x variables, now x will have a series. It will have some continuous numbers. For a series of x variables, if the series starts from x0, x1, x2 and so on, and similarly, if y has the series of variables starting from y0, y1, y2 and so on. Okay, remember it is not from x1, x2, it is from x0. Okay, it is from x0 and then 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, it will continue. Similarly for y also 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, it will continue. So for a series like this, the estimation of the unknown value y for the known value x is called as interpolation. Now we told x is an independent value. So x will derive its value. So there is no dependency on anybody. But if you take y will get influenced by x. Y will take the help of x to get the value. So what is interpolation or extrapolation? Estimation of an unknown value y using the known value x. Now we will know the value of x. Using that value of x, we will find out the value of y. This is known as interpolation. Inter, which is inside. Okay, inside. Okay, or extrapolation. Extra variables can be added. So interpolation or extrapolation. Did you understand till here? Kindly reply in the chat box quickly. Understood till here? Now, interpolation or extrapolation is a technique of obtaining the most likely estimate of dependent variable from the known independent variable under such assumptions. So, for interpolation as well as extrapolation, you will be taking some assumptions. Okay, you'll be taking some assumptions, and using these assumptions, we will be obtaining or we will be getting the most likely estimate of dependent variable. We will be able to estimate the dependent variable from the independent. Now, x is the independent variable. Using the value of x, which is already known to us, we will be finding out the value of y. That is what we were doing in correlation and regression also. One of the value will be given, we'll find the other value. Few of the times we'll find both the values, x on y on x. We'll find both the values and we will find the equations. Right? Now in this interpolation or extrapolation, it is a technique of getting, or it is technique of obtaining y value when x value is known. So that is the first part. Now coming to the meaning, that is what they have repeated it here once again. So let us understand the meaning of interpolation and extrapolation. There is a little lag in the screen. Do not worry, I will wait for it and I'll do it. Okay. Now listen. Interpolation. Interpolation is a technique of estimating the unknown values of a dependent variable for a given value of independent variable, which is within the limits or the range of independent variable. They are repeating the same thing. Okay, they are repeating the same thing here. X will be known, y will not be known. So we are supposed to get the value of y using the value of x. Now let us see the extrapolation. One second. Yeah. So we are supposed to we are supposed to use the independent variable, and we will be deriving the dependent variable from that. And extrapolation is also a technique of estimating the unknown value, that is the dependent variable, by outside limits. Here in extrapolation, we will be using the outside limits. In interpolation, whatever is given to us, that has to be used upon. One second. Hold on. Sorry for that. Let's continue. Now, assumptions. What are the assumptions that has to be considered while solving the interpolation and extrapolation problems? Okay. Just a second. Yeah. Now, coming to assumptions. The techniques of interpolation and extrapolation are made with the following assumptions. So there should not be sudden jumps or falls in the value of the variables. So there should not be too much difference in the variables. If one number is 0, the other number should not be 200 or 350. That is too much of gap, right? So you are supposed to, or the data which is given to us, that has to have a equal distribution of numbers and equal distribution of the variables which are dependent from one to another. There is regularity in fluctuation. The rate of change in the data has to be uniform. So if one data is 10, the other data is, let's say, 20, 30, 40, 50, like that. If you have an equal interval in the data, only then you'll be able to use this interpolation or extrapolation method. Maybe the gap is more or less same between the data. Okay, more or less same. I'm not saying it will be exactly same thing. Okay, it is more or less same. So that is known as, okay, that is known as the second assumption. And there is no consecutive missing values. This is important to understand. Consecutive missing values means, let us say 2012, 2013, 2014, 2015. Now there is, let's say 150 is the number, and there is one thing missing here. Again, there is a missing. Again, they have given us 450. Now, like this, two missing cannot be given to you. The problems with two missing values, next consecutive means next to next, it should not be given. But if you have a missing value here, if they are asking you 2011 value, and if they have given this as 350. Now, in that case, when one is missing here and the other is missing here, in this case, you can solve the problem. But if two are missing continuously, then it is difficult to solve the problem. There might be different ways for it to solve. So they can ask you a 2 marks question about assumptions of interpolation and extrapolation. Write these three points. There are no sudden jumps or falls in the value of dependent value from one person to another. There is regularity in fluctuations. The rate of change in the data has been uniform from one period to another, and there is no consecutive missing values. These are the three main assumptions which we will be using even while solving the problems. Is it clear? Understood? Now the next one. Uses of interpolation and extrapolation. Now, uses of interpolation, what or where all do we use this interpolation and extrapolation? Firstly, the interpolating of missing observations helps us in making forecast and projections in the statistical data. Now, here what we'll be doing is we will actually be calculating the missing values. In the data, what are the missing values that are there for us? We will be calculating all those missing values. Okay, so we can use such missing value tables to estimate the future. What can be the sales for next month? What can be the demand for the sanitizers for January, February, March of 2021? Okay, like this we will be able to estimate, or we can forecast, we can see the future projections that can be done using a statistical data. Understand, statistical data is important. Then they help in filling the gaps in the statistical data to provide continuity of information. Now, as I told the previous example, 2011, there is no data. 2012, 13, 12, 13, they have given. Again, 14, there is no data. Now, there is gaps in the data. So, we will not be able to come to a conclusion when there are gaps in the data. So, this technique of interpolation and extrapolation will help us to fill all the gaps in the data, and it will help us to make the data complete. Now, it is something like your classwork or notes. If you have not written few days classwork and you have left some pages in between, that gaps, it will be somewhere always bothering you. Okay, I have not completed my notes. This is not complete, that is not complete, right? So we are supposed to complete everything so that there is a flow. During examinations, you need not search for many books to get the problems. Everything will be in one place and you will be able to get all the problems and the theory part in one book only. So similarly, this technique will also help us in filling the gaps. Then these techniques are helpful in calculation of median and mode for continuous frequency distribution. So it will also help us in calculation of mean. We have already solved this in the previous semester. If we have median and mode, we are not calculating arithmetic mean. No. If you remember, median and mode, Z value and median value, we were calculating median and Z value, right? So those two values can be calculated using interpolation and extrapolation. So these are the uses of interpolation and extrapolation. Now coming to the methods of solving them. Now when we see the methods here, it would be binomial expansion method and Newton advancing difference method. So we will be solving problems under both the methods, that is binomial expansion method and Newton's advancing difference method. So first, let us understand about binomial expansion method. Okay, so firstly, we will be going with binomial expansion method. Now, in binomial expansion method, when all can we solve using binomial expansion method? Okay, when all can we solve using binomial expansion method? The screen will change by itself, so please wait. Now here, it's one of the simplest method. First of all, binomial method is one of the simplest method. Now, for both interpolation and extrapolation, we will be using this binomial method. Now, what are the two conditions under which we have to solve this? The value of the independent variable should have a common difference. I hope the screen is visible for binomial expansion method. Now, if you see the first point there, the value of the independent variable should have a common difference. So that is one of the condition. And the second condition is the value of x for which the value of y is to be interpolated must be one of the values of x. So which means the data will be there in the question only. There within the question only you will have the answer hidden. It is something like a puzzle which you have to pull out the answer and show it out. Okay, so these are the two conditions. Now when we start with the problems, you'll be able to understand them better. Now let us see how to solve the problems with the steps that is given. There are 4 simple steps that are given to us. Now let us see one by one. The binomial expansion method of estimating 2 missing values involves the following steps. First, find the number of known values of dependent variable. So number of known values means how many values do you know? Count 1, 2, 3, 4. If you know 4 values, n will be is equal to 4. Okay, like that. So count the number of values which are given in the question. Then after that, second one. For the 2 missing values, take delta to the power n0 is equal to 0, wherein you will get another derivation known as y minus 1 to the power n is equal to 0. So we'll be using this a lot. Y minus 1 to the power n is equal to 0. Okay. Now after this, x